Alright everybody, welcome back. So the battle rating changes for April just got released. These of course are preliminary, so they're not 100% finalized yet. Just keep that in mind as we're talking about everything today. I'm not going to go super in detail over what, every single battle rating change here and how it impacts stuff. I'm just going to do a little, like, overarching thing. If you're looking for something more detailed, I know at least one other person has covered these into depth and made a longer video on this. Today is the time of recording. Yesterday, whenever this video goes live. But I am really not happy with Gaijin in their course when it comes to balancing as of late. So as you can see right here, there is a lot of green here. And on these charts, green means something is going down on battle rating. Now when it comes to props, there's really nothing too major here. Just got some bombers going down and stuff like that. But when you look at the jets, there are a ton of the old supersonics going down. You can see the MiG-15, the MiG-15 BIS, the F-86A5, basically almost all the F-86s are all going down in BR. Stuff like the CL-13 Mark VI is also going down. And it's very obvious why this is happening. Gaijin recently moved the F-104A and C down to 9.3, and they have been absolutely seal clubbing at that battle rating because there's really nothing that can touch them. They also went ahead and they actually buffed the engine after they moved it down in BR, and it's sitting there. You have like a vehicle that can go basically Mach 1.2 that has a Vulcan. It can pull some pretty decent high away, and nothing can catch it. And that means that even though you may not see that many up-down tiers in your 9.3, there's just so many people spamming them now that basically every game that you play in an 8.3, in an 8.7, anything like that, you're gonna be seeing some F-104. Sometimes you'll see 6, 7, 8. Even more F-104s, and they are incredibly annoying to fight in anything that is not also a supersonic and anything that doesn't have some decent missiles. And so that means that all of these subsonics, like the MiG-17s, the Sabres, everything else, have been having a pretty rough time as of late. Now, instead of looking at the root of the problem, which is the F-104 going down, and the reason the F-104 went down, and of course the MiG-19, the MiG-21, everything else, all the other flareless supersonics that have gone down as of late, is the introduction of all-aspect missiles at lower BRs. Everything goes back to that one root problem. The A-10, the SC-25, everything else, all having, their AIM-9Ls and R-60Ms at 9.7, 10.0, 10.3, and absolutely ruining the days for all these Cold War aircraft that existed before flares were a thing. We're about to have the F-86A5, the MiG-15, and the MiG-15 BIS-ish at 8.0, which means that you can get your starter Me-262 or your P-80 or the other ones and already be facing Korean War jets. These are jets that used to be 9.0 back in the day and were balanced at that battle rating. Sure, they were a little bit worse than stuff like the F-Sabre, but not by a considerable margin. And now they're going to be a full battle rating lower and fighting, World War II jets. The MiG-17 is going to 8.7, including the MiG-17 PF, which, if you could recall, is basically just an upgraded MiG-17 with an afterburner. And of course, it only has the 323s, but it is a very capable jet already at 9.0, and is going down to 8.7 purely because it is getting seal clubbed by the F-104, only 0.3 above it. The CL-13B Mark VI is one of the best subsonic, when it comes to flight performance in the game. Now, of course, it'll lose to something like an Ariete, but besides that, pretty much every other subsonic is going to lose to it in a dogfight. And would you look at that? They are moving it down to 9.0 as well. Instead of decompressing, they are simply compressing the lower battle ratings more and more as time goes on. And this it can't go on. What really needs to happen is they need to go back the other direction. I mean, if you recall, back when the F-100 and the MiG-19 first came out, they were up at 9.7, 10.0. We should have moved from there. And instead, they're getting shoved back to 9.3. Because instead of moving up to 14 or 15.0, we're stuck down at 12.7. And that is with AMRAAMs coming next update. And I have a very strong suspicion Gaijin is just going to add the AMRAAMs at 12.7, and then all the 11.7 vehicles are going to get shoved down to 11.3, and the cycle will just continue from there. Now, if these changes do happen to go through, it's only fair that Gaijin moves down some of the other stuff that they've missed. Maybe something like the G91s, for example, the MiG-17F, which is the Shenyang, the premium in the Chinese tree. If the PF and the normal 17 are going to be going down, that should probably go down as well. And it's not as if this is all bad. There are some good changes here. The big one for me is the fact that they're moving AMX up to 10.7. I know I made my, my views on this clear whenever it first came out, and I have said this for literally every subsonic jet attacker that has all aspect missiles. They all need to go up in battle rating. You ask me, they should all be at a minimum battle rating of 10.7, preferably 11.0. These are self-defense missiles. The A-10 is not supposed to be, competitive in the air-to-air game mode. All you need to do in air is just go ahead and get your Mavericks or whatever else for ground, and then you can just run it for cast, which is its intended purpose. The Q5A going up in battle rating is also a good thing. That thing was way too good for 9.0, and you actually also have a reason to play the flareless one now, because before this, you had the flareless one and the Q5A both at the same battle rating. And it was just like, why would you ever play the normal Q5 when the A is the exact same thing but better? The Mirage 3C is another case of a flareless aircraft at 10.3 in this case, where the Mirage 3E was the same battle rating, and sure, it was heavier, but in this day and age, having two aircraft, if one has flares and one doesn't, I'm going to choose the one that has flares every single time. The Gaijin has actually gone ahead and given us some new stock missiles for some aircraft as well. The MiG-23M and MFs have gotten the R-60M stock, same for all the MiG-21 BIS aircraft, and the Su-22M3 now actually has the R-60MK, which is pretty nifty. The F1 lost the AIM-9B and now gets AIM-9E stock, which is a nice little buff. I mean, the AIM-9E is considerably better than the 9B just purely because of how much better the motor is. It's still a flareless 10.3, and the F104J is the same battle rating and is faster and gets 6 AIM-9Ps instead of just 4, so I would probably go with that anyways. But if you do need to stock grind for whatever reason, I mean, hey, it's going to get easier for you. Now, when it comes to changes I do think need to be made, I don't think any of these, subsonics going down in battle rating should happen. I think they should move everything else up instead. I know they're not going to listen to me, and they're not going to do that, and we're just going to get more and more compressed. So, you MU262 gamers, be ready to to fight Sabres now. But besides that, they do need to move the CL-13 Mark IV down to the same battle rating as the A5 Sabre. Whether that is at 8.3 where it currently is, or at 8.0 instead of that 8.3, if they do go ahead with these changes. The CL-13 Mark IV is basically a worse A5 Sabre because it's 40 kilograms heavier, and as far as I'm aware, and from the people I've talked to, it has essentially the same flight model besides that. So it's a worse performing aircraft at a higher BR purely because it's in the Italian tree, which is kind of dumb. The F104s also need to go up in battle rating. These things should not be sitting at 9.3. The F-15 should go to 12.7, as I said several times before. It does not need to be pulling 11.3s. Those are the major ones that I would change for now. Of course, there are a lot of aircraft that I'd like to move around, but none are really nearly as pressing as the attackers I already mentioned, the F104 situation, and of course the F-15 situation. If you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We're shooting for 20K before my birthday in July. And yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. What would you change? What are your opinions and thoughts on this whole situation? I'll catch y'all next time. So, peace, y'all.